And I wanted to acknowledge your zealous support of this bill and advocacy of this. And I am appreciative of our public hearing on this bill, in which we really respected and afforded everyone an opportunity to testify in person in front of our committee. And I want to applaud our committee for showing that same kind of courtesy and respect to those people that made the effort, because it was very emotional and it was deeply personal for many of them. The human interaction, the raw emotion, even despite Zoom, was important. And we had over 15 plus hours of debate with no limits on February 26th. And we gave everyone the courtesy, the respect, and the governmental process of being heard and seen. I'm really appreciative of that, because that was a contrast to other bills maybe that might be before this committee. Being said, this is not a right or wrong vote. And I think it's important to say that because it needs to be a vote that's based on listening to testimony, learning the facts, listening to your constituents, and then casting your vote as a representative, which we have a duty to, and be on the record for this. For me, ultimately, the determining factors are siding with a body choice decision that needs to be consistent with education, information, and consultation with experts. But I approach this the same way in regards to body choice of a woman's right to choose, a parent's right to protect and what they deem necessary for their children, to respect that personal decision of their body. So I think that was an important factor for me when I'm making this determination. A second part was we are all formed by personal experiences. I'll share with you my experience with a dear friend who struggled through ALS. This was a good friend who was an athlete in his prime, but I saw him and his caregivers struggle through with the pain and the struggle and the unspeakable emotions that they went through. And I remember that conversation with their loved ones, and they knew if they had a choice, not that they would have taken it, but if they had the choice to make that decision with proper consultation, with proper view and context, that they could make that personal decision. As I heard the stories and seen my friend struggle through with ALS's devastating effect, I think of that personal experience. And I want to make sure that for us as a policymaker, that we respect people's viewpoints on that, because we are never in their shoe. And I know there's significant talk about the effects and the importance of hospice and palliative care, but different people have different tolerances to pain and management of it. And what I offer in this and in my vote is the fact that we are giving people a choice. Whether to use it or not is ultimately their choice, but to give them that sense of choice in their body choice. I think a second part that really framed it for me was 6 years ago, my father passed away. I miss him every single day. As I watched him sit in the ICU, living a life that he would have never, ever wanted to live through, there was never a thought for me as a child to say, this is a way to end his life. I would have done anything for him to continue living and to preserve my relationship and love for him. But what I had in retrospect was the fact that he wasn't living. That wasn't a life that he wanted. And if we ultimately decide to give people choice, government is not the ultimate arbitrator of what people's beliefs and values are. And I believe this is a step in which I hope there's some degree of consistency with my colleagues, that we are giving people the ultimate body choice and that government should know its limits. So I will be voting yes on this bill, and I hope that it gives some degree of peace and comfort and support for those that are struggling through a terminal illness and for those family members that go through the struggle. I understand that there are challenges and debates on this and concerns about abuse and practices, but I genuinely hope that we will have safeguards to protect those that may be misused and misled. but ultimately with proper consultation, with proper education, with proper support, that people will ultimately have that decision for their own body choice. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator, for those comments.